We are here with the head coach David Dean midweek press conference ahead of the Valdosta State game. Coach Dean's going to open up with a few comments, and then he'll open up for questions.
Well, excited for obviously another week, but this is a special week. Playing for the Peach Basket, the big rivalry between Valdosta State and West Georgia. This is a game that over the past few years has been a very big rivalry, has been instrumental in not only Gulf South Conference standings, but playoff potential. So there's a lot riding on this game with both football teams, and we're excited. We're ready to go. The week seems to be dragging by a little bit, so we're ready to get going. Just excited to be playing back home again for the second straight week, and ready to take this challenge on.
Coach, can I get your thoughts about the emotions you have playing against your former team for the first time in the Battle of the Peach Basket?
Well, it's going to be emotional at the beginning when I first walk out and see a lot of players that I recruited and actually had an opportunity to coach. Looking across and seeing a lot of folks that were in the administration part of it that helped me along my way when I was at Valdosta State, seeing them. But I think once we get through warm-ups, go in there and we start talking about coming back out on the field and taking care of business and playing the game, I think all those emotions are gone. It's focus on what we have to do and what I have to do to prepare our football team and hopefully make the right calls and the right decisions. So at the beginning, it's going to be a little bit emotional, especially seeing folks at the first time. But I think once kickoff comes, it's going to play out just like a regular game.
Coach, you've touched on already this being a conference game, battle for the Peach Basket. First time you going up against your former team. How much are you emphasizing to your players to keep their composure, because obviously tensions are going to be high?
Well, anytime you have a big rivalry, there's going to be a lot of emotions. There's going to be a lot of tension. There's going to be a lot of jawing back and forth. The thing that I continue to harp to our football team is not put themselves above the team. Don't do anything to hurt our opportunity to win the game, and that would be having personal fouls. Losing field position. We make a great play. Do something dumb and bring attention to yourself. Now all of a sudden we lose 15 yards or try to taunt the other team. We don't want to do that. We don't want to be that type of team. And we're going to continue to emphasize to our football team that it's all about we and not me. And so hopefully if we can do that and keep our emotions in check, that's going to be very tough because it is a big emotional game. Anytime you have an in-state rivalry, there's a lot of emotions. When you're playing for something like you're playing for the Peach Basket, especially when we don't have the Peach Basket, there's going to be a lot of tensions that are going to run high. So hopefully we'll keep our emotions in check, and we'll do all our talking from snap to whistle.
Coach, last week versus North Al, defensively, you guys were able to score 17 points just off turnovers alone. This week you're facing a Valdosta team that's converted half of their first downs through 3 games. How important is that a point of emphasis, just once again getting off the field for your defense this week?
Well, there's no question. We've got to keep their offense off the field. They're a very streaky offense. They play very, very well. And when they get on a roll, they can hurt you. And that's the thing that we can't do. We can't let them get on those streaks of they're making great plays, play after play after play. So, we got to be a disciplined football team. We know they're going to throw the ball. We've got to do a great job in coverage. We got to put pressure on their quarterback. We got to force him out of the pocket a little bit and make him make plays. But the big key is stopping their run. It seems like their run game every week gets a little bit better. And, anytime you go into a game, if you can stop the other team's run, you kind of force them to become one-dimensional. And that's going to be a big emphasis for us this week. Also, creating the turnovers like you talked about. For the first time, leading up to the North Alabama game, we only had 1 turnover all year long. We were able to get 4 last week against North Alabama. Converted 3 of those 4 into 17 points. The difference in the game was 14 points, so that was the difference in the football game.
Coach, what you just touched on the run game, it seems that Valdosta, they kind of rotate in like 4 backs throughout the duration of the game. So are you going to counter that with them bringing in their fresh legs there on, with bringing in more fresh legs on that on the defensive side of the ball, plus they having an off week last week?
Well, the off week can be positive and negative. We've been a part of that before. You get in a routine of playing and then have an off week. Sometimes it takes a little momentum away. But the other thing it can do is it can help you heal up. It can help you put new things in, new wrinkles in that you have an extra week to practice on. We can't focus on that. We can only control what we do. So we've got to do whatever we've got to do to prepare to win this football game. But as far as keeping those guys in check, yes, we're going to continue to rotate guys in. As many guys as we can play on defense, it's going to help us in the long run. So obviously we're going to roll a lot of guys in, especially up front with our linebacker core. We're going to try to keep as many people fresh as we can because, again, our whole deal is to put pressure on that quarterback and force him to throw some balls up, and hopefully we get some interceptions. In order for us to do that, we got to have those fresh legs coming in there after him.
Coach, Travis Cussons made national news being the #1 play on SportsCenter last Saturday. How has he reacted to all the attention he's with his highlight play?
You know, believe it or not, I think the team gives him more grief than anything else. They've every time he walks around and they pass him, they do the ESPN na type thing. So, you know, he's a very humble guy. He realizes that he did make national news. He has not talked very much about it. I kidded him about it the other day. He didn't say a whole bunch about it. I think he's taken it in stride. I'm sure he's proud of it. It's something that I think any player would be proud of, especially at this level. But I think he's a great team player, and I think he understands the only reason that he is on ESPN. Yes, he made a great leap, but for him to be able to make that leap, that offensive line did a great job of opening up that hole. And, you know, so I think he's kind of put it behind him. You know, I think it was exciting at the time. It was exciting for our school to get that national exposure over and over. And I heard Matt Cook say today that over 4 million people have viewed that. And that says a lot for this, for #1, for this football program, but for this athletic department in this school.
Coach, it's talking about giving grief. Have any of your former colleagues or your former coaches been chirping at you about, you know, this week?
Well, yeah. I mean, that comes with the territory, and I knew I was going to get that. But, you know, it's all part of it. That's part of the fun, is to poke fun at each other and, you know, what are you going to do? Who are you going to pull for? Are you going to accidentally wear the red? Are you accidentally going to wear the black? You know, all of those things come into it, and that's going to lead to the emotional part of this game. But like I said, once the warm-ups are done and everything starts to channel into kickoff, all those are going to go away. And I know at the end of the day, no matter who wins this football game, we'll come together and we'll be the friends that we always were.
Coach, Valdosta State has thrown 6 interceptions between 2 quarterbacks. How confident are you that your Wolves can get a few picks?
Well, I'm never confident in anything like that. You know, I know our guys play hard, and if we happen to get in the right position and make the right break, we can create some turnovers and create some interceptions. We know they're going to get yardage throwing the football. Our big thing is not give up a huge play, the big plays. We got to force them and their quarterback to be consistent and play a perfect game snap after snap after snap and not give them those big plays and those big momentum plays. But, you know, I have a lot of confidence in our secondary. There's no question about it. But as a coach, you're never confident because you're always nervous of what happens here or what happens here. So I can't say that I'm overly confident that we're going to create those interceptions. I do know this: our kids will play hard and put themselves in a position to create those big turnovers and interceptions.
Coach, talk about how Austin McGugan stepped in a tight situation last week and punted the ball in place of Christian Ramirez.
Well, you know, it was kind of thrust on him all of a sudden because when Christian went out, we thought he was going to be able to go back in, and all of a sudden he couldn't. And Austin came out, and his first punt wasn't what he wanted to have, but that was probably the biggest punt that I can remember us coming off the goal line. We had a penalty that backed us up inside the 2-yard line, and he had to punt under a tremendous amount of duress and hit probably the best punt he's had all day. And it was high, and it was right where we needed it to be, and it forced them to have a fair catch. So I was really proud of him. And you know, that's part of having a good football team. When you've got a guy that can step in when somebody gets hurt or somebody goes out with a cramp or somebody loses their helmet, you know, something like that, you got to have that next guy come in and step in and play hard and not have any drop-off. And that's exactly what Austin did, and I'm really proud of the way that he came out and responded.
Coach, the Blazers have 8 sacks in just 3 games so far. What are you going to do to try to slow down that pass rush?
Well, gosh, I don't know. They're very good. Our offensive line's got to play good. They're a great pass rush group. They don't bring a lot of pressure. They get pressure with their 4 guys up front, and they rotate a lot of guys in there. So, we're going to have to be on our game from a protection standpoint. We're going to have to take care of a lot of twists and stunts that they do up front. That's something that we have talked about a good bit. You just can't get that live look from the speed aspect because you do have good players on your scout team, but not to the caliber that they're going to bring in here on Saturday. So, the first live look that we're going to see of that is the first couple of snaps or when we throw. So hopefully our guys are going to be up for the challenge to take on a very good defensive line, not only the first group, but the second group that they roll in there as well.